Good morning. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much for organizing this fantastic conference. And thank you for the presence of young people that I saw that they came also to work with us as we do in Bootstrap. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about here, is this way of working with people for whom science is being developed. So I'm going to talk about the role of co-creation in science and in developing interventions to handle this problematic usage of the internet. And I'm going to illustrate how we are working in Bootstrap and in particularly how young people are being involved in the development of this app that wishes to prevent and treat this risk, this problematic use of internet. So basically, co-creation in science, it's also called citizen science, citizen involvement, and it is becoming more and more recognized as an important way of working, which is involving society, involving citizens in the production of scientific knowledge, or in the development of technology, or in finding and building solutions for the problems, for the real problems that are faced by these citizens. And this is important because, first of all, because it's a right, it's a citizen's right to somehow influence decisions that are going to be based on scientific knowledge and findings, especially if that research is funded by public money. So it's a fundamental right that something that influences our life is developed, having into consideration what we need, what we think that should be done. So this is a fundamental right somehow. And very important is that what we know is that results are better when we involve citizens. So we do better science if we involve young citizens, because citizens have knowledge that scientists do not know, which is the real, what's happening in reality, what it is to live with a certain disease, what is to be in TikTok. For instance, I don't use TikTok. I've never been in TikTok, although I'm doing research in problematic usage of internet. So I need someone, so I'm 60-something years old, and so I need someone that is 11 or 12 that works with me and tells me something that I don't know regarding problematic uses of internet. So we do better science when we involve persons that have a direct and first-hand experience. They have a direct knowledge of what it is to live with the problem that we are trying to handle with science. So we do that exactly in Bootstrap. We are working with young people because Bootstrap is for young people. And basically there are two areas where we do this involvement. It is in general in all the studies in the research process that we are conducting. And here, and my colleague, Professor Lucamay, we will talk afterwards, illustrating some of the activities that we do regarding involving young people in our studies. But I would say that in the next 3 days, we will have here 40 young people that come from different countries in Europe that are going to work with us in order to plan how the results of Bootstrap should be reflected in European policies and how they are going to be drawn into policy briefs and how so that young people have a voice on also how the internet can be a safe place. So this is an example, but there's much more activities and tasks, research tasks, where young people have been involved and working with us as colleagues. So the idea is that young people are members of our team. They have knowledge that we need, and so that's our way of working with a co-creation approach. What I'm going to focus now in this presentation is how we have been working with young people to develop a digital intervention, because basically that's the main outcome of the Bootstrap project. So the development of that app, that it's going to appear in an automatic way in the mobile of young people that are at risk of problematic users of internet. So basically, why it is important to use co-creation when we are developing digital interventions? Basically because people don't use it. That is a big problem. It happens in general, but also, and so also in health technology and in mental health field, is that there is a very low adoption, that people start working, and a very low rate of acceptance. So people start using it, but after a few days, they don't go there anymore. And so we need to develop an app that is used. Otherwise, there's no meaning for working during these 5 years, isn't it, of the Bootstrap project. So it is key, and we know that involving users in the development of technology since the beginning, it increments this technology adoption and acceptance. So we've done that in the Bootstrap. Just to three very important and key aspects regarding co-creation in this innovation. Innovation because we are creating something new. So we don't know, so it has a creativity approach that we don't know where we go. So in innovative processes, it can be like in architecture, in every field of innovation, this co-creation is an important approach. And in all those fields, there's these three features that characterize co-creation. One thing is that it puts the user, it's human-centered. So it is based on, it's centered in the end user of the people that are suffering from a problem that aims to be solved. And so the person is always at the center, at the beginning, to know what are the needs, why this is needed, what the person prefers, what are the values, what is the reality. So this must be at the center. And this is the mainstream approach in any technology processes, innovation processes. And this means that then we work with people, we work with users, also besides identifying the needs, to have ideas, to ideate how this could be done, to then, based on these ideas, to build prototypes, then to test it, then to choose one, because we cannot have several apps, we need only one, then refining. So always having this iterative process, always consulting, always having the end user working with us. And this also means that we need to combine very different areas, very different domains, because as an example here, we have researchers, we have designers, we have web developers, we have end users. So we have to find a way of putting all these different fields talking the same language and working together. So it is also a challenge. This transdisciplinary approach, and we use the design thinking approach that is a fast, empathy-based approach to gather this communication and work together of these different fields. So I'm going to give you an illustration of how we have done this. So as it was mentioned before, we have several stages in the Bootstrap project, and the first one was to develop an app that could assess young people and to identify young people that are at risk for PUI, and also to understand what are the mechanisms, what are the variables that can explain this risk. And in order to do that, we needed to create what we call the assessment app. So that has got several instruments, some of them that were presented in these studies in the morning. So it has a battery of tests and several other ways of detecting problematic usage of the internet. And we needed to build an app that young people in schools would use in the first cohort, so the assessment study, that is the second that is here. And after that, we've continued developing the app in order to include interventions that work, that are going to be tested also, interventions to deal with this problematic usage of the internet. So I'm going to give you an example, some examples of how we have involved young people in the development of these apps. So basically, we have this transdisciplinary team. So we have researchers from psychiatry, so health research and sciences, psychiatry, clinical psychology, experts in digital psychology, PUI research methods experts. Then we have the technical team that is developing with the software, the development of the app, and we have users. And these users are young people from 12 to 16 years old, what we call the ambassadors, that come from 9 different countries. They are based in schools, and these ambassadors help us in the development of the app, but also in the other research projects, tasks that I've mentioned. Also, we have the boot crew that are young people. Some of them are here. They are older, and they are experts on PUI and mental health. And so they also work with us in order to combine, in order to translate what is in the book, what is in the manual, what is in the IPACE model, what we know science says regarding how should PUI be assessed, how should PUI be treated, in order to translate that into an app that young people are willing to use. So this is the design, we use this design thinking approach that requires this designing how we are going to combine these 3 areas, that is what we want to do, what is desirable from a human point of view, what is technologically possible, and what is economically and in the time frame of the project possible. So we have to combine these 3 areas in a creative way, in fact. So I'm going to show you how we have done this. This is the second app, so the intervention app. and sort of show you the process. In green, we see where young people have been involved. This was 1 year. We only had 1 year to develop the intervention app. And so starting the planning phase, we had to work together, thinking the design on how to involve all the stakeholders. And so we've done that previously. And then we've done a meeting with the boot camp in person with researchers, young people, and the developers in 3 days, very intensive meetings where the ideation, and I'm going to show you some examples, where the ideation of how the app would be was made. So much suggestions, many possibilities came up, and then those that were possible were included in this final intervention design. And then after this programming and having a first prototype, young people were then again involved, but this time online with surveys and focus groups to test. And then a third iteration where after refining, there was a fine tune. And finally, after 1 year, we had the app ready, and currently it is being tested in the schools in the several countries, participating countries. So our starting point was, okay, we know that emotion regulation is involved in problematic usage of internet. So I use internet to relax because I'm nervous. I feel to forget, to feel better, to calm down, or as an impulse control mechanism. That is, I can't avoid it. I can't stop. Okay, so the idea is that the app and what we know regarding the mechanisms of PUI is that these two mechanisms must be handled by the intervention. So they should be there in the app. So this means that if we want to involve young people and to translate this into the functionalities of the application, we need to create workshops, to create interaction with young people, so that they tell us in a very fun way. And this is not because it's young people. This is design thinking always do this, because we have 3 days and very demanding, where we are taking out all the ideas that people have, but in a very structured way. For instance, this was the plan that we had for these 3 days in the boot camp, where we have several activities, and it seems games, but the idea is that young people inspire us and give us information that needs to be translated into the functions of the app. I'm going to show it's better. So I'm going to give examples of some of these activities here. First, the astronaut story. In the first boot camp, so we had 2 boot camps devoted to development of the app. We needed a storytelling. That is, young people told us, why am I going to answer all these questions? I need to have a purpose. The app needs to guide me. I need something to... So the idea that came up was that the app could be about an astronaut, a space shuttle that is lost in space. And in order to come back home to Earth, they need to fill up some questionnaires, and they will start gain some points, like oxygen, to come back. And then there's a problem with with the map. They lose the map. So if they fill in some questionnaires, they will be willing to have the map to come back. So make it in a way that tells a story. So this was also proposed by young people initially in the assessment app, and it was used for the intervention app. So basically, the idea is that for these problematic users of internet intervention digital app, what young people will have is the story of the astronaut. And so, 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes. Okay. An example of one of the activities that we've done with young people, we've asked them, okay, so you will need, we need to create a story that will allows us to oh, sorry, no, I'm quite, 2 minutes, I don't know what to, okay, I'm going to show you some examples to show how creativity, how rich it is to ask young people to imagine that the astronaut needs to regulate his emotion, and how the story would be and how it will appear in the screen. Another example, so this is about how in these workshops we have an incredible amount of ideas, and then we vote in one idea, so we converge these possibilities. And so regarding this possibility that was voted, we can again have lots of ideas, so there's no limits. And so this is really inspiring, because not everything is possible to implement, but this gives researchers and developers a guide on what can be done that is interesting from the point of view of young people. This is something that an adult cannot think of. For instance, this activity, let's help the astronaut to make a list of activities that could make him feel better in dealing with his emotions. And in order to do this, we've proposed a bingo. So you see, it's always, we always have to devise, to co-design a way where young people, in a funny way, will inform us on information that needs to be in the app. Like, for instance, these emotions, something that you do when you feel frustrated, when you feel sadness, anxiety, etc., which are emotions that underlie problematic usage of the internet and should be included in the app. Another activity, another example, imagine that there's a button that could be pressed to help people control impulses. How can we help the astronaut control his impulses? So we made a game where if teams, if they when they identify one activity that helps control an impulse, they get 1 point. So it was a very intense but very interesting and inspiring boot camp, and this again links with this idea of design thinking, that it is ideating, inspiring, but then implementing. And finally, just to show you how we went, it was really, at the end, we could propose this task, which is quite complex. That is, okay, so let's make a narrative that is using this story of the astronaut. Think of a journey of a user that takes the mobile, and in that journey, you will have to include a content, educational content on emotional regulation in one format, another emotional regulation performed by the user. These are aspects that the theory says that must be in the app, like breathing exercises. So this is quite complex, and in fact, young people were able to construct this narrative, and you see lots of alternatives, lots of ideas that researchers could not really do it without young people. So I think this illustrates how important it is. Just to finalize, 1 minute, I would like to show you here something in the next phase. I don't know if it works, So here it was the implementation of one possibility, a functionality in the app, to train breath exercise to train relaxation. And so it was proposed in the boot camp, and it was then implemented. And then in the iteration of validation and fine tuning, we asked young people how it was. So they tested it. And here are some of the feedback that they gave us, and it was possible then to implement some of them. Yes. So to finalize, in fact, why involving young people and why having co-creation, a co-creation approach in Bootstrap and in the development of interventions in PUI, it's absolutely central. And this was a text that was presented in the boot camp to young people during the workshop. It is precious for us, and it is also an opportunity of learning for researchers. To involve young people and to have their voices represented and in this project and in this app. So thank you so much for your attention.